tell everyone your name.
My name is Sarah Cooksley.
And you have 6 children.
And I have 6 children.
Some are vaxxed and some are unvaxxed.
Yes.
So we are going to hear the conclusion. Now, not everybody's might know. So far we've had everyone with the same conclusion, but we don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Tell us about your children. Start with the eldest.
Okay, so my eldest is 14, and she was vaccinated according to the schedule here in the UK 14 years ago. And I didn't notice any issues with her that were like, she was my first, so I didn't really know what was normal and what wasn't. She had eczema. I attributed that to different foods that she was eating, but none of my other children have had eczema. And when she had her MMR at around 18 months old, she started banging her head around on the floor and things.
What was you and your husband, what were your thoughts on vaccines?
Well, we didn't think that the vitamin K was necessary, but the other ones, we just didn't think about them at all, really. I remember vaguely knowing a little bit about the MMR scare with Wakefield and all that, and thinking, well, my brother's autistic, autism runs in families, it's not caused by vaccines, and that was pretty much the extent of my thought process.
So you didn't give the vitamin K, you questioned it?
I did question the vitamin K, yeah, because I thought, why are we so worried about babies having thin blood when all of them are born that way? There must be a reason for it. So why are we changing things when they're first born? Like, the human race has survived this long without every baby needing the vitamin K. So that, it didn't click with me. But I don't know why I didn't think about the other ones. It took me a long time to figure that out. But, so when my son was born, he was vaccinated, and he had some reactions, and he had...
Because this is Missouri,
No, we're in England.
Okay, but you're from
I had all my
Missouri.
children. Yeah, I'm from Missouri, but I had all my children here in England. So
you
I
married
followed
an
the
Englishman.
UK. Yeah,
Right,
I followed the UK schedule, and took them in for their jabs, as they call them, and I just followed it. And the problems that my son ended up having, he had lost a bit of language skills because he had the MMR at 12 months old. They don't really talk a whole lot at 12 months old anyway. At least my son didn't. So him losing some language, it didn't really, I just attributed that to, he's a boy, boys are slower than girls. And then he ended up with glue ear, so he had ear infections and he had hearing problems. He had behavior problems. He had months of diarrhea, and it didn't really all kind of come together for me until he started nursery school when he was 3, and I saw how the other little boys behaved compared to him, because I didn't really have anyone to compare him to. And I thought, this isn't right. Something's going on. And so we were able to get an educational psychologist in to give an assessment, and he was diagnosed with autism when he was 4, almost 5. And that was really heartbreaking. But again, I didn't think that vaccines were the culprit because my brother was autistic. So we just carried on, and my daughter, who is now 10, she was vaccinated according to the schedule, and she was 3 or 4 when the H1N1 scare was happening, and I was pregnant at the time, and so she got a vaccine for that, and I got vaccinated for that
while you were pregnant?
While I was pregnant, yeah.
And how far pregnant were you when you had that?
I was 6 or 7 months pregnant, like beyond that window of the statistical probability of miscarriage that has been talked about, because I researched it a few years later and I went, what have I done? But my daughter Penny, she was the one I was pregnant with when I was vaccinated with H1N1, and she was my sickliest baby. She was hospitalized the first winter of her life and the second winter of her life with croup several times. I had to be ambulanced into the hospital with her and everything. And, again, I didn't really connect the dots.
But she was on schedule with her vaccines as well.
Well, she's the one where I started questioning a little bit. We moved when she was about 5 months old. We moved house, and moving the records across from one doctor's surgery to the next, there was a confusion over how far along she was with her shots. And we had just moved and everything was chaos, and I didn't have the written records in her little red book. So when the surgery said to me, we'll just do them again, I thought, what? What? That doesn't make sense. And then just this instinct inside me was screaming, no, don't do it. And so I just said, let me see if I can find the records. And then I just ignored the letters from the surgery ever since. And she had the H1N1 when I was pregnant, and then she had 2 rounds of shots when she was a baby.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then I had my 3-year-old and this little guy, and they haven't had anything.
No vitamin K?
Nothing.
No shots while you're pregnant?
No. Although, they pushed it like crazy when I was pregnant with him. This is what's really interesting to me, because I've been pregnant so many times, how different it is compared to my first pregnancy, to my 6th one. Like, they just, every appointment with him, oh, have you had your whooping cough? Oh, have you had the flu jab? Oh, you really need to. Oh, and I even said to the midwife, I said, I'm not going to do that. It hasn't been tested on pregnant women. And she's like, no, it hasn't. And she just had this look on her face of like relief that I wasn't going to do it. But professionally, she wasn't allowed to say either way. But I could just tell that she did not agree with it, but she couldn't say it.
And she wanted to give you it?
Well, she had to say, she had to give me the option. That was her required little spiel. And I got it from the OB, I got it from the midwife, every midwife I saw. And I got it from literature, little pamphlets that they give you, everywhere.
I didn't know midwife gave shots, actually.
I don't know if she actually gave it, but she was asking me about it. She was offering to book an appointment at the GP or whatever. She was checking up on it.
Oh, yeah.
So I was shocked at how much it was being pushed during my pregnancy with Samuel compared to my eldest 15 years ago.
Okay, so let's talk about the health of your unvaccinated children. I think really also mental health, because
yeah. Well, mental health is something that I've kind of noticed more recently, especially as my younger children get older. I noticed that they are they're more robust when it comes to things like disappointment, and socially they're able to deal with friendship stuff, and like at home, if they get in trouble, they don't go like rushing off in tears. They're just like, okay, yeah, I shouldn't have done that.
So calmer.
Yeah, calmer, able to cope with the ups and downs of life much better.
You must be fed.
Yeah. So health.
Yes, we're talking about their
yeah.
health and how are they? Because people say, like the bad people like some in Japan, they say that the unvaccinated are not very clever and very unhealthy and a danger to society.
Well, no. What's really interesting is, especially my 2 youngest who are completely unvaccinated, I get people all the time mentioning, oh, her language skills are amazing. She's 3.5 and she sounds like a 5-year-old. Or I was looking on a website about baby development, and he's 4 months old. So I was looking at 4 months old, what to expect for a 4-month-old baby. He hit all of those markers. So I was like, all right. So I checked 5-month-old. He hit all of those markers for 5 months old. I checked 6-month-old. He hit a few of those. I mean, obviously he's not sitting up yet or anything like that. He's still little. But I thought, he's not a super baby. He's just a baby. I mean, I love him, but I don't have rose-colored glasses on. I don't think that he's like a genius. He's just a baby. So I think that our perception of what's normal is skewed. And I think that there's something going on that is slowly what is healthy is, the definition is being changed, I think. But it's difficult to put a finger on it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, now, so do your unvaccinated children have any seizures?
No.
Okay, do they have ear infections?
No.
Do they bang their heads?
No.
Do they have eczema?
No.
Asthma?
No.
Allergies?
No.
Interesting.
Mm. What's really interesting as well is I was looking at, you had an interview with a London doctor, and I can't remember her name.
Jane Donegan.
Yes. And I was reading some of her articles on her website after watching that interview, because it was an amazing interview and I really enjoyed it. And one thing that she said is that children need to get ill, and that a lot of time when they have an illness, after they get well again, they have a jump in cognitive function or something like that. Like they actually increase in their ability to, they grow in some way or form. And I realized that my 3-year-old, she does get sick from time to time. She had a vomiting bug, and so she just rested at home, and we just coped with it at home. And then after she got better again and she was back to her normal self, all of a sudden her language skills increased. And I didn't connect that until I read that article. Oh, that's interesting. Like, illness is a part of life. Like, that's another thing that I've noticed. There's just this fear. Everyone's so afraid. Everyone is just scared of getting ill. They're scared. Just scared. Scared of everything. Like, everyone's decisions are made out of fear. And the fear manifests itself as anger, doesn't it? And that's where the angry comments on Facebook and stuff come from, I think.
I think marketing on this vaccine is possibly one of the, I think this vaccine's lie. It's one of the best marketing scams ever, because people are living in fear and they're shouting at the unvaccinated and they're screaming at each other, and everyone's got confused. And you're right. Are you frightened of your children catching chickenpox?
Not at all. Not at all. They all have had chickenpox except for him. My 3-year-old got chickenpox when she was 10 months old. She had one night of being fractious, and that was it. She was fine. She was fine.
What about measles?
I don't know a whole lot about the symptoms of measles. I do have a book. Basically, my attitude is, if they come down with something, I'll look it up. And we live in an information age, and I have full confidence that I can go on Facebook and ask for help, and I will get help.
With this lot?
Yes. Yes, there are far more informed people than me, and I can just ask for their help and I'll get it. And I'll get it quickly. So if my kids come down with measles, we'll sort it out. I'm not worried. They're well nourished. We live in a clean, dry home. They have access to clean and fresh air and clean water, and they'll be fine.
So, conclusion of your home study of vax versus unvax. Are the vaccinated or the unvaccinated more healthy?
The unvaccinated, the non-vaccinated, they're doing fine. We don't need to be afraid.
So you are officially an ex-vaxxer?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And my daughters will never get the cervical jab, and they'll never get topped up boosters at 13 and 14. I will put a big black X on those forms that they bring home from school every time.
Yeah, you want to be careful. I'm a bit shocked about the UK schools, what I've been hearing.
Yeah.
They're really ramping it up.
Well, and here in the north, where geography fail, northwest.
Liverpool.
Yeah, Liverpool.
The
the primary school, the NHS has actually started giving the nasal flu mist to kids in primary schools here, during a specific age range. So my 6-year-old was in the right age range for that, and she was only one of 2 kids in her class that didn't get it. And I was thinking to myself, isn't that the one that the CDC said is no good, and they stopped providing it, and now the NHS has bought it and is giving it to children here? That I just was dumbfounded. I could not believe that had happened. So no, she did not get the flu mist nasal spray, and she did not get the flu, funnily enough.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you for all the people that have been trailblazers, so that people like me can finally figure out and connect the dots and not make the same mistakes over and over and over again. So I'm grateful for everyone.
Hear that, Periscope? We are vaxxed. You're doing your job. You're saving babies.
Definitely.
Someone's saying he's milk drunk.